What's up, everybody? It's Red from Sound Valley Studios, bringing to you guys another edition of the Valley Rising podcast series. This series is intended to showcase some of the artists working here in the Southwest, out of Arizona specifically. The desert has so much to offer, and there's so many incredible, talented people here. And we just want to help bring them to light a little bit, kind of showcase their abilities, and introduce them to the world. So I'd like to bring to the show our next guest, Sonny. What's up, bro?
What it do, man?
How's it going, man?
I'm excited to be here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, man.
Appreciate
Thanks for coming on the show, man.
For sure.
Before I get started, I'll talk a little bit about this man. He has been putting in a ton of work at Sound Valley Studios. Probably just started, I don't know, a little bit over a year ago, maybe.
Just under
a year ago. This guy's put in music video work, mixing, mastering, been coming and getting his songs recorded, goes out to Vegas and does shows. So really, really excited to have Sonny on as a guest here, and really hope you guys will start to follow some of the things that he's been on. So tell us a little bit kind of about yourself, where you're from, and so the audience can get to know you.
Well, I live out here in Arizona now. I've been out here for a couple of years. It's been nice living out here. It's definitely grew on me. I love the people of Arizona. I love the vibes. But I was born in Toronto, Canada. That's where I'm originally from.
Okay.
And I was mainly living out there through my childhood, and then I lived in Los Angeles, throughout my middle school, high school years.
Oh, cool.
And then pretty much lived there for most of my adulthood life, and then moved to Vegas, and I moved to Arizona. So I've kind of just been all over the Southwest.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But it's definitely been, a cool, coming out here, being from Toronto and having a lot of artists that are from the city that I'm from that, especially for me, are big influences.
So you talk about some influences and like growing up in Toronto, moving around to LA. What was like your first connection with music? Or like if you can think back to the first time you're like, oh wow, that's awesome. Was it stuff maybe your parents were playing or friends and family, or kind of what were some of those connections and influences you had growing up?
I mean, I couldn't tell you what I first fell into loving music. Obviously, it was probably a Disney movie or something.
Sure, sure.
But like when I actually fell in love with just listening to like certain artists and like actually following it was just, that whole wave with YMCMB, Drake, Cash Money, like that was just a vibe.
For sure.
For my era, at least for my, people in my generation, I guess. So it was definitely a big thing for me. I loved that music. I followed Drake for a long time, and same with, The Weeknd coming out after and just making really good music. So that's where I really fell in love with music and following certain artists.
Yeah.
But obviously, heard Elvis as a kid, or, just certain artists, Sierra, or just big artists that you've liked songs from growing up.
They give you influence.
Yeah, it gave me influence, but following artists, it was nothing like that wave in the early 2010s,
So like speak on, because I think you have a unique perspective of seeing Drake like kind of rise, especially through being from Toronto.
Right.
Probably maybe even heard of him or like knew of the stuff going on before we did, right? Like down here, especially in the Southwest, right? If you think about like geographically how the trends can move, right? Especially if it started up in Canada. So talk a little bit about like what that was like seeing somebody from like your hometown make it, because I think one thing a lot of people here in Arizona lack is like we don't have our Drake, right? Like we don't have anybody really who's kind of like come from our city, or like our Mac Miller from Pittsburgh, or whatever it may be, Kid Cudi from Cleveland.
Right.
So talk about like how that influenced you as a kid, and maybe touch on if that helped you see some dreams and see somebody right there in your hometown doing it versus what people here in Arizona like are kind of fighting that uphill battle because they don't have anybody yet. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, it's huge. For me growing up, seeing Drake come out of the city, if you, not intersections, but, just a little over, from where I was living and growing up, knowing he came from there, and, seeing him grow from Degrassi and actually make music, and for it to be hits.
Yeah.
I felt connected, like I knew him.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I felt, to be honest. It kind of felt like I grew up knowing Drake personally, but I didn't.
Yeah.
But it was that type of connection, you know, and obviously he had like the OVO thing and like just big events that he would hold in Toronto, and they were just huge. You know, a lot of us would want to go and be a part of it. So it was definitely, you know, special, you know, and being able to be a part of a couple of those events and just that come up and just being put on for the Toronto was big, you know. And again, I was moving back and forth to LA at the time, like when he was, not when he first was coming up, but like as he got really big. And before I moved out, when I was a kid in middle school, like I would go to school and the kids would make fun of me when I would tell them I'm from Toronto. This was before Justin Bieber, before Drake, before all these artists, and everyone would say, "Oh, you're from an igloo, you live in igloos," and it would just like be clowned upon to be from Canada.
No
like,
way.
Forget Toronto; they wouldn't even know what Toronto was.
You're talking to a kid from Nebraska.
This is like 2008, 2007, you know. But Toronto's a major city, though.
Sure.
Nebraska is still small, relatively.
They used to ask me. I would meet a kid at camp, and they would ask me if I rode my horse to school.
Oh wow. Did you?
No, I did not. We have cars in Nebraska.
All right, good. No, I've been to Omaha.
But I understand that sentiment, right?
Yeah, but basically, it was just like, you know, just growing up from Toronto and coming out here at first, at Los Angeles especially, not Arizona, maybe it wouldn't have been that experience. But another major city like LA, it was just, for me, that's the experience I had. And then once Justin Bieber came, you know, he was huge throughout the world, you know, immediately. So everyone knew Justin Bieber, everyone knew he was from Canada. He wasn't even from Toronto, but he kind of put it on the map.
Yeah.
Drake put it on the map. And then big events started happening in Toronto because of them. So it just really got put on the map. So seeing that, and then the championship, the NBA championship, and just all these things coming to that city, and I wasn't even a part of that last part, but just seeing that happen was really big. And then now it's like, no, everyone knows what Toronto is, you know, or it's relative, you know, when it wasn't. So just growing up and seeing that change was nice. You know?
Hopefully we can have maybe people like you help build some of that culture down here in Phoenix, because I think there's a desire to have some of that. You know, I spent a couple of years producing and engineering in Atlanta, right? Where there's a big culture around, like, you know, arts, the music, writers camps, producers camps, those kind of things. We would love to help facilitate that and bring some of that stuff to Arizona.
Yeah.
And I think if we can put some people on the map, there's some artists getting bigger, like Merkins is a rapper out that's doing really well. And I know Futuristic and stuff, you know, raps out of Tempe. And so there's definitely some vibes going on. But if we could have that, you know, stamp that like, hey, put our name, hey, this is our Arizona guy.
We need a hit.
Or woman.
We need a hit.
Definitely could help kids kind of see that, right?
Yeah.
So talk a little bit about like your music journey and like what inspired you, or like how did you start to make music? You said it was a little under a year ago. Kind of what kickstarted that into becoming an artist?
Well, I always had, you know, I always felt like, and that's another thing, seeing Drake come up on the songs and the type of music he made, for me, when I would listen to it, it's like I would sing it in my head, and I just felt like it was natural for me. Like it was something I would have came up with.
Yeah.
You know, that's why I felt so connected to him, like as if we worked on it together. Obviously we didn't, but if I was to go and make music, it's gonna sound just naturally like Drake before he was Drake. You know, that's just how I was as an artist.
Sure.
But I was never an artist. That's just the type of music I would just play in my head or just kind of play over a beat for fun. But my cousin, who's 2 years older than me, 92, we don't talk no more, but he was an artist early. You know, he got introduced to music later in his teenage years, and then, or later, you know, like maybe he was 12 or 13 when he actually listened to music, and he had naturally a nice voice. So, you know, he started singing and people really liked his voice. So I just really believed in him, and I thought he was a good singer. So seeing him being able to sing and me not having the same capability of his voice, I just believed in him, you know, and I didn't think rapping was a realistic career to ever pursue. So I just never really pursued it. Watching him fail, also not really watching him fail because he didn't really put the 100% effort that he needed to, but watching him fail doing it halfway was enough for me to not believe in it. But just, I don't know, as time went by, you know, these last few years, and then going through personal things, betrayal, love, whatever, and then just friendships dissolving and new friendships, and just going through a lot of that made me feel, and also just time passing by, you know, like learning, knowing that every day we're just living, you know, existing, you know, to expire at some point. So if we don't do something now and like imprint ourselves,
Absolutely.
then we'll never get the chance again. So I don't want to lose the chance. So I'm here, you know, for that purpose of not missing out, and at least knowing that I've tried.
I love that,
I have
man.
the capability of doing it. So
I love
you know,
that.
it's never too late to keep trying.
100%.
And here we are since May of last year is when I started my first song. And I'm, you know, I've grown as an artist in terms of, you know, gaining a little bit of a fan base and people listening to my music, but I'm still not where I want to be. I haven't gotten anywhere close to the dream. I don't have a viral song or a hit song, not yet, but
doesn't mean it's not
I
coming.
believe that eventually it's going to happen.
That's right.
And, you know, this podcast will eventually be seen by a lot more people than it might be seen initially.
That's right.
Because
got to keep building,
people
baby.
want to know where that hit really came from. And
Absolutely.
this will be a part
Could
of
be
that
5
song.
years from now. People are starting to
Could be.
looking back and seeing. It could be 5 days from now.
Yeah.
But here's the key: is people like you who have some talent and some drive, they don't give up, right? And so, like when I talk to younger artists or I talk to kids who are getting into this game, it's like, just don't give up, right? Because that's the easiest way to not ever get there or to not ever make it is to quit.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
So talk a little bit about, like, if nobody had ever heard one of your songs before, kind of what that would sound like, or what you want, like, to leave an impression on the audience, or somebody who's never ever heard anything from you before, and hey, I'm about to play one of your songs. What would you describe it as?
Like
your
one
kind of
song in
music.
particular, or
Just your sound.
I just feel like I'm all over the place.
Okay.
You know, as
Yeah,
someone
but
I've
they
worked
don't
with.
know, so talk about
Yeah,
that.
so you know, I obviously make all sorts of music. Not all sorts, it's all hip hop, and for the most part, I have a country song,
Some dance kind of stuff
some
too.
dance song type music, or R&B type songs. I wouldn't even call it full R&B, but more just hip hop. Obviously, overall is what I'm mainly focused on. This type of music I make, but anywhere from, you know, the slow, cool, like flow, melodic, you know, R&B type sound, to something hard, you know, hard rap, like, you know, with a flow, obviously, and the sounding, you know, nice.
Yeah.
Even lyrically, obviously, I have some songs that lyrically I can get more into it, you know, so. And again, it's what I like listening to is like my like lovey song, or my like losing my mind song, or just a song that's more like less lyrical, you know, just me actually, you know, kind of singing. But what people seem to like is mixed. You know, I'm getting mixed reactions. Some people like the rap stuff more.
Yeah.
Some people like what I like more.
I would say out
I'm
of all
just
the
testing.
artists that I work with, you are one of the more versatile artists.
Really,
for
we've made the 3-4 different types.
Yeah,
of
a couple
genres.
different genres even, and
We haven't
dabbling.
done country
and
yet. We have to do a country song.
Country stuff would be great. That's right in my lane.
Yeah, we were talking about doing that.
So, talk about your process of how you make the music. Do you write your own songs? Do you take inspiration from others? Do you start with the beat? Do you start with the writing? Kind of take the audience through what it's like to create a song for you.
Yeah, like me, I don't put too much thought into making a song. It just comes out pretty easy.
Okay.
All I need is a beat that I like.
Okay.
And once I have the beat, then I just need a little bit of short time, like between an hour or two, to make the hook, and then work on the verse. And obviously, you know, there's a lot of inspirations and a lot of places that some of that might come from, but naturally it just, you know, that's just how I make my music. Now, if there's something that I want to write and be more lyrical, and actually have bars, then obviously it's gonna take me some time to write. You know, like a couple of my songs that I haven't even released, I have more lyrics in there because it's more, you know, just talking about certain pain and betrayal with my friends. So Like that was more thought into it. But normally I just want to make good sounding songs
Yeah.
for me, and that's just what it is. A good hook.
Nice.
Something that people can sing along and enjoy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you get your artist name? Talk about like how that came into.
Well, my name is Sonny. You know,
So
that's-
it just as natural in your own.
yeah, I've just been
personal
called
name.
Sonny since a kid, and
Didn't want to change it or be Lil Sonny or
no,
anything.
yeah, just we're not gonna do all the extra, you know. But
No, that's cool.
and I don't know. You know, I'm more just want to be me. I want to be authentic. I don't want to wear a mask and hide my name.
That's
I'm just
awesome.
gonna be me as an artist, hoping that I can gain a real
People like you
audience
for you.
being me. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's really actually impressive to see like people who are able to build a brand off themselves,
Yeah.
pretty much, right? Like just off of you and who you are as a person.
Drake. That's what Drake did.
Exactly.
He's him.
But
That's
he-
his middle name, I think.
I think so.
Drake.
Aubrey something,
Drake
right?
Graham.
Is that right?
I think so. Yeah.
Either way, it's impressive. We interview a lot of different artists on here, and some people have crazy names. Some people have a cool story of how they got their nicknames.
Right.
I've always gone by Redcoat. I got that from my grandfather. And so it's just interesting, but I have respect for people who
Yeah.
can use their own name like that.
It goes both ways. I also think it's creative when someone has a cool creative name that
Yeah.
matches, them as a person.
So what's your favorite part of the music making process? Are you more into like the writing part? Do you like come to the studio? Do you like performing live? What's kind of like your
I
favorite
love
part
being
of
in a studio. I just love making music, just
Yeah.
constantly, back to back songs. If I could just work and just live in the studio, I would, because you can never make enough songs.
Yeah, 100%.
And some songs are better than others, and eventually you're going to keep making songs, and the more time you spend on a song, you're going to actually make the hit. I'm going to actually get to the hit. The song will be complete. I won't feel like there's empty pieces or parts to the song. I want it to be quality, and I want it to be perfectly. I want it to be how I want it to be,
Yeah.
how these industry guys do it.
Yeah.
I don't have that. None of the songs I've made they're close. So, obviously you have a good production. We have the tools, but time.
Yeah.
You got to spend more time on a song. I don't think 2 hours, 3 hours is enough.
Yeah, no, I
You got to
agree.
spend like at least 10 hours on a song. That's going to be a hit,
For sure.
Every note, everything. If you're going to mix it as an artist, I want to sit there
Yeah.
and see you mix it so we can talk about what I like and what I don't like.
Yeah.
It takes money. It would take me spending a lot more money
Yeah.
on a song.
Feasibility, I mean, it depends on where you're at, right? Like a studio like us with limited space because we have one room.
Right.
Scheduling and feasibility can be hard. But like when I used to work for Sony Music in Atlanta, we would have like one room that was like just a mix room dedicated
Right.
where people could just go at any given time. So, as we grow and as, let's
That's the
say
goal.
you start working with labels, you start working with other people, there's going to be more opportunities. But having that fire and that passion inside to do
Right.
it, like loving what you do, that's so key, man. So that's
absolutely.
awesome to see. from you.
Absolutely, yeah, I do love it, and I'm very critical of myself, just in general, how I work, how I make music, things that
So
I want.
talk about maybe like trying to break through because you're kind of like a new artist, right? Up and coming, and you've been working at it for a year. So what challenges have you faced, and maybe like what advice would you give for other artists who are thinking maybe, hey, they're watching this and thinking like you were when you were watching your cousin and seeing all the reasons not to do it. Maybe talk about your challenges of breaking through and how you combat them, and
Yeah.
some advice to others.
Don't jump the gun. Don't believe what the first person tells you, or the
good.
first person tries charging you for recording or a music video or whatever. Just because
some
they're your
research.
friend doesn't mean that they're necessarily there for your best interests. So I would definitely say be careful with people who you call friends that suddenly want to work with you now that you're pursuing being a musician, unless they genuinely mess with you and they genuinely want to record, help you record, like they actually want to help you without money being it. Like, I'm not saying obviously if that's what they do, and you want to pay for their services, of course. I'm not saying don't do that, but I'm saying like if they want to like really try to, you know, come up on you and like take advantage of the fact that you don't know nothing about the music industry, which some might, be careful with that. And also, you know, take every opportunity you can. Obviously, I haven't made it to where I want to be yet, so I can't tell you how to make it, but I'll tell you consistency. I'm not as consistent as I want to be, and I'm still, you know, doing all right. If I be a little more consistent, then maybe we'll get there. So I think that any artist that wants to make music, they just gotta really be about it, really be consistent.
I agree.
Record, drop, and then just repeat that process.
I agree. I heard somebody the other day say in today's world of music, if you had a chance to put out an album, like a 10-song album, or 10 singles over 10 weeks, do the singles every time.
Right.
Because like the consistency of the drop and just like putting something out,
Yeah.
the algorithms, your YouTube channel, all that kind of stuff
Right.
like starts to grow based on that
Absolutely.
consistency.
Yeah.
How about any dream collaborations? Anybody that, you know, hey, if I dead or alive, money wasn't a factor. Anybody that you would get on track?
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't. I mean, I would say Drake, but I think we sound similar, so I don't think that would be a great mix. But like The Weeknd would be cool.
Ooh.
Yeah, if I had The
Like if you
Weeknd
did a
to do the
versus.
shit that I tried doing that I can't do. If The Weeknd can do it and I can do the other part, that'd be cool.
Singing the hooks, you mean? I'm just
Yeah.
kidding.
Pretty much, or
No.
the bridge.
The bridges, yeah.
I could still do the hook, and he could just do the
Yeah.
bridges and
That'd
like
be cool.
the background vocals and stuff.
So what's one thing that most people, the audience, might not realize about being an independent artist? Somebody trying to do this on your own, fully self-funded. What's something that you could touch on that maybe people don't know about this life?
I mean, it's not easy, you know. Not as is with nothing. As is not working out and, you know, having a nice body after a few weeks of even working out. A few days, never mind that. A few weeks or a few months, you know, it takes a year to get to that body usually for most people. So, and that's consistent. So I think music is similar. I think you got to build your brand, and that's another thing. You got to build a brand. It's something I'm learning. I don't really have a brand. I don't really have too much visual content that I think is really good. I think that's where I'm slacking. I think I have good music, but I don't have the full package of what I need to push myself as a brand, and that's what I'm working on. Like if I could be serious, I bought shirts. Like if I could make the shirts and, you know, give them out and actually have a brand that I can push, that would be something I want to do this year. So I would say if anyone wants to, you know, push themselves as an artist, they should brand themselves, because I've learned that's how you make it in the industry.
It's like your own business essentially.
Right.
You being an artist is like your own little business, pretty much.
Right. Like even now,
so that's
I came
important.
straight from work here, you know? So I'm wearing whatever. I'm not, as an artist, like, and that's another thing, like all these young dudes, they're wearing all these other artists, they're wearing all this nice designer stuff, and I guess that helps them. It's the image.
Yeah,
And people
but I mean,
like that image, but just being a regular dude, like you can't just, unfortunately, just wear regular clothes when you want to go and perform, and people don't want
I
to see
think
that.
there is something to be said about the brand, but I'm not so sure that it has to be like luxurious or something. Like you could have, you know, I'm into like country pop music, right? Like my style is more like a flannel and a pair of jeans, and like that's not very flashy, but it definitely is. It's on brand, right, with what I do.
Well, hip hop,
so
you
it's
know how
like
hip hop is.
totally flashy in hip hop, right?
Is not that.
But
We can
actually,
try the country route.
but yeah, that's what I'm saying. But actually, I think that's something to touch on too, though, because part of what I think makes you is that you are so authentically yourself, and like that's why I love that your name is just your name, and why I asked you that question, because I think there's something to be said about a regular dude showing up and making great music and other regular people vibing with that, right? Because having some sort of connectability, like Drake's cool for you because he came out of Toronto and you have that personal connection. When I first heard Drake, he was already a multimillionaire and stuff, right? So it's like my connection to him rapping about Bugattis or whatever it is, you know, Trucks on the Way to the Plane or whatever that song is.
Right.
Like, I can't relate to that because I'm just a normal dude, right?
Right.
So there's something to be said about your style too. So don't sleep
guess.
on what you've got.
I guess. But
So-
Drake came out the same way at first. You know, he was humble on that heartbreak lover boy
And then
vibe, and
then
and then after he gained the wave, then he kind of went on that whole rich boy like
now you can afford it.
shit. Yeah, it wasn't from the beginning.
So a little bit about the present and the future. So what's your latest release about? Talk about what inspired it, and then anything that you've got coming down the road for releases on your music.
Yeah, just the latest EP, Lost in Love. Lost in Lust. Is what it's called, and it has 5 songs. And basically it's a EP about heartbreak and betrayal. And it's just something that connects to me. And currently not currently, but just in the last year, kind of what I've gone through. So I definitely feel like it connects with me, these songs in particular. It's all a little different. Some are talking about betrayal and some are not talking about letting go and stuff like that. But really it's all relative. It's all relative. Yeah. It's my own favorite EP that I've dropped so far. I wish I could have more people listen to it. Hopefully, eventually I'll get to that. But this is going to be something that if I ever do get somewhere, I think this EP would be a part of, a big part of me as an artist. So, and just my music, like where it came from, to what it's going to evolve to. So.
Anything coming down the road after, or anything on deck you've been working on?
Well, we just made a banger song a few days ago that I really like, Hollywood Life.
Oh yeah, that one's great.
I really like that song. But it's not any particular. People always have like particular projects. Like, no, I'm just making music in the moment. So, I guess however the music sounds in that moment is gonna be the project that I'm working on. And sometimes I'll make a song here, and then I'll add another couple songs that I made a few months ago that sound similar, or they're similar type of music
vibes.
Yeah, or like lyrics, and then I'll drop that together, So they're not necessarily like, even the last EP those are not the newest songs I've made. Those are just the songs I've put together that match the whole EP.
Got it.
Yeah.
Last section I usually take people through is kind of what I call like just a fun and personal touch. Just kind of silly stuff for people to get to know you. The questions are kind of random and they kind of throw people. But the first question is, if I went on your playlist for iTunes, doesn't have to be your own song, what's the most unexpected artist or song that I'd find right now on your phone?
Blue Ain't Your Color.
Oh, okay.
By Keith Urban, probably.
You like a little Keith country action there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would not expect that on your phone.
Randomly heard his song like a few years ago, and I just loved that song.
That's hilarious.
Went to a show that he had at the Fontainebleau, like I think it was like last year sometime, and I loved it. He did a great show.
Nice.
Good other songs that I don't really listen to. He performed very well, and yeah, I really like that song.
I expected you to say like Sabrina Carpenter or somebody like that. Taylor Swift or something.
No,
I'm just kidding.
Maybe at some point, but yeah, none of that. No, well, for my daughter, like we have songs like "Love for You" is like some song is like "Love for You"
that in there.
Yeah, she loves it, so it might be something like that.
Okay, this one throws people usually, so if you have to think about it, it's all right. But if you had to put a theme song to your life, it could be your song or just a random song Yeah. What would that song be?
Heifer by Drake.
Oh.
Probably.
Nice.
Yeah.
That would describe you well.
Yeah, I can't even think of all the lyrics right now, but just thinking of the song and how it goes is just like,
that's your life theme song.
Yeah, just like how I perceive the song is like, we just keep going like, hell yeah, we're rising up regardless. Like we're going to rock this shit regardless.
Do you have like a pre-ritual show kind of thing that you do, or pre-show ritual thing you do, or only eat red M&Ms before shows, take shots before shows? No. You have anything fun you do before you perform?
No, I wish, I'd had, I've had a good amount of performances, but I wish I'd I'd done it enough to be like, yeah, off the bat, like I do this. But definitely I'll drink a couple.
Yeah.
I'll have a drink or two.
Yep.
Maybe smoke a little bit before or on the stage. I got to work on like introducing myself and also intros and outros, because I'm comfortable with performing as an artist, but I'm just not so good with engaging with the crowd.
Yep.
At least as good as I thought I'd
comes
be.
in
You know,
time.
it's like
I was like that
think
too.
I'm pretty good with engaging with the crowd or with individual people if I was dealing with them in a business perspective. But when I'm performing, for some reason, I feel like people are right away are judging me.
Yeah.
So it's hard to interact with the crowd the way I would love to, which I think that if I just did it, it'd probably go very well.
And in due time, it'll come.
On Saturday, there's a show in Vegas, the Rap Arena. There's a bunch of competitors, including myself, that we're going to be performing and competing. The winner wins like some sort of money or trip or whatever.
Oh, dope.
And like labels are going to be there, Rick Ross, like Maybach or some other people. So, you know, it's a pretty big event, you know, and it would be nice to already know how I'm going to talk and, you know, but I'm not even ready for it. It's just going to be winging it, you know? So I wish I could practice.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to practice. So it's everything
To your
I do.
daughter, anybody who will listen, man.
Everything I do is just off the bat, pretty much.
Yeah.
Sometimes it goes well, better than others. That's how it goes when you wing it. So hopefully it goes well when I go this time, you know, on the stage.
Well, I think you'll do good, man. Tell people where they can find you, you know, what your platform, your streaming is. That way, when this interview comes out, everybody kind of knows where to find you.
Yeah, absolutely. My Instagram is Sonny, SONNY X187. And you can find me on TikTok as well with that same username. I have Spotify, Apple Music, you know, all the major platforms, YouTube. My name is Sonny with a money sign, ONNY. And then if you search it up, you might see a few different artists. But if you search up one of my song names, you'll see my page pull up. Yeah.
Well, thanks again, everybody, for tuning in and checking out another episode of the Valley Rising series. Again, we're just trying to showcase some of the artists here in Arizona, the work that's coming out of the Southwest, especially those who have been putting in work here at Sound Valley Studios. Thank you guys for all the support. Please go and stream this man's music, support him in his shows, watch his videos online. Anything that you can do, a like is free. Remember that, and it's simple. And it really, really helps the artist. So appreciate you coming on, man.
Appreciate you, brother.
Absolutely.
Thank you, guys.
We'll see everybody next time.